Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ron Line Report. I'm Ronald Allen Harris. Today we have the one and only eight-time Mr. Olympia, Ronald Dean Coleman. Did I get it right, Ronnie?
No.
Damn it. Oh, I thought your middle name was Dean. No?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, okay.
First name is Ronnie, though.
You're actually named Ronnie?
Hmm.
Oh, man, why didn't my parents think of that? I don't think they knew that was an option.
Exactly. There you go.
And this was in 1964?
Yep.
Wow. Your mom was a very progressive thinker. Jeez.
Exactly.
So you didn't get called Ronald. Damn, you're lucky. Okay. Before we get into any Olympia talk, Ronnie, I saw on your channel, on the YouTube channel, Ronnie Coleman, you've been doing stem cell therapy for your back. So it's been about a month, I think, since you had that done, right?
About 2 months.
2 months. So how's it going?
Going real good.
Yeah.
Worked out real great, real fine. I'm looking to get another shot in about.
Yeah,
Well,
the
I had
stem
a
cell
shot.
therapy.
I had a shot 2 months ago, and I'm getting another one at the end of December. He wanted to do it every 3 months.
What do you notice? What difference do you notice so far?
Took most of the pain away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but the only
So,
thing it came back. So he said it would come back in about 3 months, and he said we was gonna have to do another one. So that's the way it goes. You have to do. You can't. It's only so much you can put in, I guess, at
yeah,
one time. Stem cell.
right.
So to completely eliminate it for a good amount of time, you have to do it uh, like back to back, 3 months.
Oh, so it's not a scam where you have to do it every 3 months for the rest of your life, right?
No, because that wouldn't be in the picture because they're doing it for free. But
Oh,
actually,
wow. Wow, because I remember because Kevin Levrone, I remember when he had that done on his knee a few years back. I think because I was asking him, what does this go? What is this? What's it costing, Kevin? I want to say it was about $3,000 every time he had it done, maybe
that,
more.
that's what it is. Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I went to another doctor's office and that's what they told me it would be.
yeah. So when you're out of the pain, are you able to train better, walk better? How do you feel different?
I feel different. Yeah, I had pain for so long that it
Hmm.
really doesn't bother me a whole lot.
Hmm.
So it's just more of a mind thing than anything. Because I still train just as hard,
Right.
and train 6 days a week also.
Wow.
So nothing never changed there, and never had a problem there. It just like I said, just more of a mental thing. Just get that off your mind, so you don't be thinking about it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, gosh, I don't know anybody who's put up with all the pain that you have, and I never heard you complain once, not once, all these years. Yeah,
Yeah, you remember what I said back in the day? It don't really do you any good.
that's right. That was your famous quote about you have a lot of famous quotes, Ryan. They've become like legendary in the sport. That was the one. That was the one. It was at a press conference for the Olympia. You talked that you
Yeah,
made that one, right? You
exactly.
said first year at the Olympia, I got last place. I didn't complain.
Yeah,
And did something else. I didn't complain. So the
yeah,
moral of the story was don't complain.
yeah. Don't do you any good.
You know what? Another famous quote of yours, I don't know if it was at the press conference or it was a pre-show interview for the Olympia, but somebody said, Ronnie, who do you see as your toughest competition? And you know what you said? Do you remember?
Oh yeah. What I always say. Me, shoot.
No, you said all of them. All
Yeah,
of them. Yeah.
yeah, that is true too.
You didn't underestimate anybody because nobody saw you coming in 1998. You came
Yeah.
out, you came out of nowhere, but geez, it was a surprise. So, first of all, are you going to Orlando next week for the show?
No. I was gonna go to the Vegas show, but I don't
Uh,
too much want to go to Orlando like that.
okay.
So
Uh,
I'm gonna just stay home. I don't know. They saying what is 2,500 people limit?
I keep hearing different numbers, but that's the one I keep hearing over and over again,
Yeah, that's
2,500.
that's that's the first one I've heard. I didn't hear anything else.
Yeah, that's a
So
good crowd. That's a really good crowd.
yeah, it's a pretty good
This
crowd.
for this year, for COVID year.
Yeah, because we only had 800 at my show this year,
Wow.
and we
Is
normally
that
have 2,500.
so? Is that because you had to spread the seats so far apart?
Uh-huh.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
How many competitors showed up?
350.
Wow. Wow. So your show's still doing great.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was the last month. So we had to move it from April to November.
Yeah. Same place, same venue?
No, we had to do a different venue because the other venue cost so much because we had done it pre-COVID, so we used that like I think 20,000 square foot venue,
Right.
and we got it down to 10 with the new one, but bills were still high.
Sure, I'm sure. So, the big story, of course, Phil Heath coming back. He theoretically should have tied the record that you and Lee Haney set of 8 wins. Should have been able to do that back in 2018, but didn't go that way. Sean Roden won that year, but he's coming back. Everyone's excited. Are you excited Phil's coming back to go for 8?
Well, I would have been more excited last year. This year, it's kind of hard to predict. When you had that whole year off and had time to relax and not be as motivated, not be as focused. So it's hard to get that back. Because I remember when I was doing it, and then I stopped. And I kept saying, okay, I'm going to go back next year. And I never made it back because I never got that mindset back.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it like these guys, they've been running this race, and they've been out front all this time. They never stopped like Phil did.
Right.
So they're still ahead of him a little bit, Phil's got a little catching up to do. So with all these guys highly motivated, especially after another guy that won,
Yeah.
These guys are still, I look like Big Rama has made some big changes.
Yeah, I mean, were you really impressed with him at the Arnold this year when he took third?
He looked a lot better. Looked a lot harder. Starting to find his conditioning, and that's been his biggest problem, the biggest issue his whole career.
Right.
So once you start solving those problems like that, you get on this big roller coaster where you pretty much solved your issues, and now it's time for you to start stepping up. That's what I was saying. These guys have been ahead of him for so long now. A year is a long time.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to get back to that spot again where you were before. Like I said, I'd have been much happier if he'd did it last year. I think he had a better chance because, like I say, he wouldn't have had that break. He wouldn't have lost so much motivation, so much steam going ahead. Now, it's hard to catch these guys. They're younger. And they're a little bit more motivated, and plus they're ahead of you because you quit, you stopped, you stopped while they kept going.
Right.
So I see it being kind of difficult because of that.
So let me ask you: when you were competing, were you more motivated to win the Mr. Olympia before you actually won it in those last couple of years when you were in the top 10? Or were you more motivated when you were the champ and you wanted to hold on to the title?
See, like you mean, as long as I was competing, I was always more motivated. It's just when I stopped competing is when I started losing it.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you caught any of it, probably not yet, because I interviewed Phil. It was up. We put a video up last night, and he seemed super, super motivated, really fired up, very excited, hungry. He's got that death face going on, and I think he's ready. But Brandon, you can't take anything away from Brandon. He's been working hard this whole time.
Exactly.
He's over there in Kuwait. No distractions.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Left the wife and kids behind. Just doing the bodybuilding thing.
Yeah. That's hard to deal with. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me on that. I'm quite sure Phil kind of know about it too, but that's where Brandon has that edge at. He didn't stop. He's gonna get better, every year.
Yeah.
Phil, he's on the decline.
Yeah.
He got beat. So that tells you something.
True.
And
True.
Your body don't get newer. It gets older.
Nobody's getting younger, are they? Huh?
Nobody defeats Father Time.
Defeated.
So you mentally you're there, but your body isn't, and ain't nothing you can do to change that. Nothing whatsoever.
So going back to just the idea of being able to break that record, because I know you want to see records broken. It's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
In any sport, you really love to see, this guy score more points than anyone's ever done, or this guy run more yards than anyone's ever run, or touchdowns, whatever. It's what makes things exciting. But so when Lee won 8 and retired, I was like, okay, I don't know if anyone's ever going to beat that. And then you came along, and by the time you got to around 6, I'm like, okay, maybe this guy Ronnie Coleman, maybe he can get 9 and beat the record. You know, your body unfortunately started breaking down on you. Phil won 7, and then he had the hernia situation.
Yeah.
Even if he can win this, which, you know, it's possible. Of course, it's possible.
Yeah.
9 wins would be the all-time record, which I don't know if I'm going to live to see that broken, if it ever gets broken. I don't think any of us are. But even for the greatest athletes like yourself, like Lee, like Phil, you're still human. And do you think a human body can stand up to 10 Olympia preps where you're the champion, where you were the best bodybuilder in the world 10 times?
No.
It seems like a lot.
That's way too many. That's asking way too much right there. You'd have to come in where you were real young, you know, around that Lee Haney age. Now, maybe, you know, who's to say that Lee Haney couldn't have done that at that time? But, you know, he was 31 when he retired, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So that means he was like, what, 24 somewhere in there?
He was 24 when he won. Yeah, that's crazy.
So if somebody could do that and, you know, win at 24, it's possible. But who's going to win that? Who's going to win that young again? You know, when will that happen? Now is the trend is getting older. You know, everybody is maturing a lot later.
And the youngest guy in the Olympia this year is 28, I believe.
Yeah, at Lee Haney's age of 24, winning his first one. Look at that body he won with. Put that body into what 2021, 22.
It's a different era.
Sure. That.
I'm curious. You know, you were at that last Olympia. You were there in Orlando.
Yeah, exactly.
You competed your first Olympia the next year in '92 in Helsinki.
Yeah.
You saw how Dorian progressed. Do you think if Lee had looked as good, if he had kept on going for one more year, and if he looked as good as he did in '91, what do you think would have happened with him and Dorian in 1992?
I think Lee would have won again.
Yeah.
Dorian just ain't got that shape he got.
Yeah. Do you ever get upset when we just made a comparison, Lee Haney, comparing him and the way he looked in 1984 to the way the guys look now? You know, you think it's because fans do that all the time? They put up like these pictures of this guy Arnold versus Phil Heath or Ronnie Coleman versus, you know, I don't know who, but they love to do these comparisons from different eras. Is that fair? Can you really compare bodybuilders of totally different eras like that?
That's another thing I go back and say. Every bodybuilder has their own era. And every era is designed by a set standard. The standard that Arnold set, you know, back in the day, you can't compare that to now. The standard Lee Haney had back in his day, you can't compare that to now. The standard I had back in my day, you can't compare that to now. You really can't compare that to now.
Well, that's the weird thing is usually a standard keeps going up, up, up.
Yeah.
You could say Mr. Olympia now would destroy any of these other Olympias from the past, but I catch a lot of crap sometimes. And I'm not kissing your ass, Ronnie. I'm not. But I do say Ronnie at his best. He beat all these guys. It's not even – I'm not being disrespectful to Brandon or Phil or any of these guys. It's just you had to be there. You know, pictures don't even do you or Dorian, any of these guys. You had to really be there to see how good you were in your prime, how good Dorian was in prime. But you in 98, 99, the first couple of years, you weren't as big, but geez, your condition was just this incredible. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, those couple of years where you were like 280, 282, and then you were 296. And man, we haven't seen that ever since.
No.
And I don't know if we ever will. I don't know.
No. Well, you never know about that. Like I said, Rami's starting to come into his own. So we'll see how it goes from his era. Well, once he steps up and gets in there or whatever, I can't see him being held back for too much longer. He's going to eventually figure this thing out, It takes some time. It took me 8 years to figure it out too, He's competed in how many Olympias now?
This is 4? Like 7th. Oh, more than that. I think his first one was 2013.
Really?
So yeah, it's been like 7 or 8. But
he coming up on it. That's what it was for me.
Yeah, but he's got a good coach now. He's got this guy Chad Nichols. I don't know if you heard of him. He's from Missouri. But do you talk to Chad at all about him ever?
No, not at all.
No? Yeah, because I'm just curious if anybody could solve the puzzle for Ramy, because Man, he's got all the size in the world. He's got pretty good shape. He doesn't have a big waist.
No,
No really weak body parts. He could have bigger calves, but you could say that about 90% of people.
exactly.
Do you think Chad is the one that could crack the code for this guy?
Yep, exactly. Did it for me, and I've been raving on Chad, ever since he helped me win my first one. So, he made some remarkable changes in 1 year. I went from ninth all the way to first. So you gotta believe in a guy like that. Rami ain't got that far to go. What's his highest place in the Olympia?
Second.
Yeah, so
2017, he was second to Phil. Yeah.
Second to first ain't gonna be nothing but a cakewalk for him.
You said cakewalk instead of peanut this time. But, yeah. So who else do you see having like a chance of really fighting these guys? Were you impressed with, let's say, like William Bonac, Hadi Chupan last year?
Yeah. I don't see nobody else besides Bonac and Rami. That's pretty much it. It's always like 2-3 guys anyway. It's never no more than that.
Right. So we can't forget Rolly Winkler, and we can't forget the oldest man in the show, 51 years old, Dexter Jackson.
Yeah, but don't forget you just said the key word there, 51.
Man, I mean,
51 going up against the 31.
I don't think this is the best. I think I thought he looked a little bit better a few years ago, but
yeah, he did.
he's still holding so much size,
density.
So much condition, density. Yeah, I mean,
all of it.
You must be amazed to see somebody that old that's still holding their physique together.
Yeah, totally amazed. It brings you back to Al Beckles. He at 61, what he was doing. He was doing the same thing. He had all that density, all that size, and all that conditioning. At 61 years old, he was beating those 21-year-olds. So.
True.
I mean, certain guys, it's just meant for certain guys to do that. Ain't they only come along like once in a lifetime?
How old were you when you finally stepped? Your last Olympia was 05, so you were 42 at that time.
Yeah.
And it's the nerve damage. It's whatever was going on. You didn't lose the Olympia because you weren't training hard enough. You lost the eye of the tiger or something like that. It was your body just rebelling against you.
Exactly.
If that hadn't happened, theoretically, how much longer do you think you could have done it or would have wanted to keep doing it?
Yeah, at least a couple more years for sure. Like I said, it's hard to hold on to that mentality for so long. Just being look at these guys in the NFL. How many times you seeing Super Bowls won back to back? And NBA championship won back to back, more than 2 or 3 times. You talking about doing it like 9, 10 times in a row. Same thing happens to you mentally. You start to lose, you start to fade mentally there too. Look, I think that's what happened to Lee Haney. And it's so hard to stay motivated, stay dedicated, stay passionate for so long. It starts to get to your mind. Your mind don't want to do that all the time, every year after year. And you're like, man, I need a break. Yeah. I think that's kind of like what happened to Lee. I think he could have went on for a couple more years, but his mind was like, man, this is hard. I'm fighting these guys off. They come in for me. And, every year you having to step it up more and more and more to the point you get to where like, man, this is overwhelming me. How much more can I step it up? How much more can I put my body through this? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication. It's a shit ton of sacrifice.
Yeah.
The family and all this. I couldn't even be around my family. They couldn't be around me. I was too too hard to deal with. You don't want to be around nobody, And that all that, we human, we ain't no machine. You kind of want to be with your family. You kind of want to hang out with your friends. You kind of want to do other stuff. You get tired of being dedicated to just one thing year after year after year, trying to stay on top year after year after year, trying to get better year after year after what year. And it just takes a toll on your mind.
I can imagine. I mean,
like I said, it's machines.
You got you have a good perspective because you played college football in a very demanding program over at Grambling. What do you think's a harder sport? Pro bodybuilding or pro football or collegiate level football?
Pro level football.
Yeah. You think
Pro
that's
level.
harder than bodybuilding?
Uh, man, you know what? I be thinking about that all the time. I
Yeah.
think to myself, what could be harder than this?
Yeah.
You know, and I can't come up with nothing. I be looking at the boxers and like, they go through a lot. MMA guys go through a lot, with all that physical pounding on each other. And I'm like, man, but having to deplete your body for so long
Mm.
against having to get beat up like that, I don't know which one is hard, but to me, it seems like bodybuilding is the hardest.
Well, let's put in perspective. You were like competing anywhere from 260 to 300 pounds basically for many years. Uh, last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks of the show, you'd be on very low to no carbs, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
2 hours of cardio in a day on a stepper. Right? I
Yep.
think you do. Would you do an hour on the treadmill, an hour on the stepper? Is that what
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Still same thing. This is hard.
I mean, the
And don't
NFL,
get
all these other sports are hard, but they're not starving. I don't think these people ever
starving.
starve. Yeah.
Can't eat what you want. Can't be around your family. Of course, yeah, they doing that too, but man, that can't eat what you want and can't, and the other stuff you can't really talk that much about. All these different types of medications.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Shucks, it's just a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
yeah.
So much, so much. Like it wears on your mind too. So you got that too. So man, it's. I think it's like one of the toughest ones out there. And then you got to remember popularity.
Mm. As
But
far as this, our sport
6,000,
not being as popular,
huh?
what do you mean by popularity?
6,000 fans at the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. How many you have at the Super Bowl of football?
How many people watch the Super Bowl on TV around the world?
Exactly. How many watch bodybuilding around?
Look, let's hope we get a lot of people watching the pay-per-view this year, but I don't think it's going to be Super Bowl numbers. Let's be
Exactly.
real.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah. Yeah, did that ever bother you because you worked so hard, you were the best in the world, and
That bothers me a whole lot.
mm,
All this work, all this sacrifice, and this all I get.
yeah.
They
I
got
mean,
guys making 200 million in 5 years.
yeah, some nice contracts out there. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And you,
Baseball,
and you
football,
do
basketball.
you putting your body on the line. You working just as hard as these guys, or harder, and this is what you get.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the cool thing is you did get a lot more recognition than I would say most other Olympias even got because
Yeah,
I can go up, I can go to pretty much anybody, regular person, and say the name Ronnie Coleman, and most of them know who you are. Even
yeah,
if they don't care about bodybuilding, they could care less. They have a vague, but they've heard the name, they know the name. Whereas if I say Dorian Yates, they'd be like, huh? Or if I could name a couple other guys, they don't
yeah.
always know it. But you got a very popular, you have a heck of a fan base, and for good reason,
And yeah,
honestly.
yeah, a lot of my background working for the police department and doing all the other stuff too.
Yeah, but I mean, you were so good to your fans, so good
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I allowed myself to be marketable by continuing to work full time while I was Mr. Olympia, also for about 3-4 years.
that's right.
Nobody ever did that.
They were playing PlayStation. If there was there a PlayStation back then, yeah, I think it was like probably PS1 back then, right?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. But I keep bringing it back. I know this is just out of nowhere, but those workout weekends, I never forgot that weekend. And I don't know how many of those you put on over the years. It was
Yeah,
about
quite a few, quite a few.
probably about 20 at least. You were doing them twice a year for a while, right?
Yeah, I did it twice a year one time,
Yeah.
a few times. Yeah,
But
it was like I said, it was about 15 to 20.
yeah, I mean, talk about it. Talk about giving back to the fans. I know you didn't make a dime on those. I know you didn't,
No, no,
because
no.
dude,
It was just
let
something
me
I was
let me
charging
explain to people.
$8.
You took us out to eat 3 or 4 times every day at a restaurant. Nobody ever took out their wallets. You paid for everything. You
Yeah,
took us to the Dallas Mavericks game. We trained at your gym twice.
yeah,
We went to Metroflex twice. You
yeah,
took us to your church. You took us to your church.
yeah,
The delicious brunch afterwards, I might add.
yeah,
Man, and all that was for, I don't even remember the price. It was like $600. It was that included the hotel too. Everything was
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No,
Wow.
we didn't make any money off of that because I was making a lot of money, doing all those endorsements. So I didn't really care about it. So I was just trying to give back the best I could, because I was real appreciative for winning and all that kind of stuff. So that was just my gift back, basically. So no, I didn't make any money off of it, But I was trying to give back the best way I could, just like gave Brian my show for 20 some years. I'm trying to help him out too. I wasn't being as greedy as I could have been.
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, I got to throw this in there too. When I got to Dallas at the airport, I think it was your brother, one of yours. You had your whole family working and helping you out on these things. I think it was your brother. I think one of your sisters. It was your brother, one of your sisters picked me and a couple other people up. Everybody had transportation.
Yeah.
Nobody had to take out their wallet once in that entire weekend. It was, and I don't know if you know this little fact, but I went in February 2005, and one of the other guys and his wife that same weekend, he's now one of the he won the Arnold Classic physique champion this year, Alex Cambronero.
Yeah,
so he's one of the big names, big favorites going into the classic physique division at the Olympia. But he was there, and him and his wife, and you wouldn't recognize him because they were little kids back then. They were like 20 or 21, and he was like 50 pounds lighter than he is now. But they still talk about that weekend too all the time. It was such a great experience.
I still talk to him.
we're forever grateful, Ronnie. That's like a memory. You can't even buy a memory like that. That's just
no. That's like I said. That's why I was doing it for free, pretty much for free.
So your feeling is Brandon's probably going to repeat because he's been on the grind this whole time, hasn't skipped a beat. Phil's been away from the stage for 2 years. I don't think you'd be too surprised if Phil could pull off a win. He's got 7 titles. I don't think it's impossible to think he'd get, but I guess we're going to find out. Are you going to be watching the pay-per-view?
No, I won't be watching pay-per-view. I got kids and wives now,
It's funny. I've heard people have knocked you for not being like a super fan and not knowing who every single pro is. But I put it to them like this. Let's say there's an NFL player and he's retired. Unless he's commentating for ESPN or something, do you think that guy's going to watch every single NFL game and know every player that's playing now and all their stats and everything?
No way.
No. He's a retired champion athlete. Why?
Life goes on.
Exactly. You know what? You're living.
It wasn't a big part of my life even back then. I still, like I said, I was still working full-time police department. And, I had my other stuff going on here and there. So, it's definitely not going to be a big part of my life afterwards. That's what a whole bunch.
You did that. You lived and breathed bodybuilding for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
Enjoy your wife and kids now, please.
Deserve a break.
Please give Ronnie a break, guys. Come on.
All that sacrifice I did back in the day, I was here by myself 8 years.
That house right there.
Nobody,
It's a big house, guys. I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. Bought this house way before I won any Olympias and still here. Yeah. And it was pretty lonely for a long time. So so now I got a chance to enjoy life. That's what I'm gonna do.
Right on. Well, Ronnie, I learned a lot today. Basically, I learned that your name is Ronnie and not Ronald. And I've got to say, I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were another Ronald, and now I feel like my parents should name me Ronnie. But well.
Yeah, they have that on my Wikipedia and some other things. But I'm like, I ain't got time to worry about that.
So you're saying everything on the internet isn't 100% accurate?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, who would have thunk? Yeah,
I'm surprised with that.
Well, Ronnie, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. Guys, check out Ronnie's YouTube channel. A lot of great content. It's just called Ronnie Coleman, right? The channel.
Yep. Getting close to 1 million followers on that.
You got tons of clips from the old training tapes on there, competition footage.
Got them remastered and putting them up. I was getting ready to throw them away one day, and somebody came in here and took them from me.
Wow, please. I'm glad you didn't do that, Ronnie. Jeez.
Yeah. I hate watching myself on video. The reason why I was going to do it.
That's right. You still haven't seen your documentary, have you?
I tried to watch it one day here with the kids.
And?
It turned out pretty good.
Oh, did you? Oh, you watched it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Had they not been here, I wouldn't have watched it because they ain't never. They don't know anything about me being the mystery and all that. They still 5, 6, 7 years old. Okay. So for them on the TV was kind of shocking.
There's also a really cool video you posted recently. You guys got to check it out. It's your first posing practice. It's like 1989, I think.
Yeah, 89.
Yeah.
That's exactly when it's from.
And so that was before your show, before you ever competed, right?
Yeah. I was getting for Mr. Texas coming up in 90 in April.
Right.
And
Wow.
that was one of the things that there were stipulations of my me joining the gym.
Right. That's
I had
right.
to compete.
I
And
mean,
that's the first thing we did. We went over to this guy's house to start practicing posing because I ain't never, I had never posed before. I didn't know nothing
right.
about that. So let's go over to this guy's house. He can put you on film and everything. You watch it and rewatch it and whatever. Teach you how to pose.
Yeah.
And
I'm
he
glad somebody
recorded every
filmed
time
it.
we went over there.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said he recorded every time we went over there, and of course I kept all those.
Wow.
Kept all those videos, and we went over there for a lot.
Yeah.
We was doing it twice a week, because I was working full time in the police department. I'd have 2 days off. It'd be like Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
So we would go over there every Tuesday night and every Wednesday night and pose, and that guy was filming. That's how to pose right there in that shed.
Yeah. Well, guys, you can check it out. It's on Ronnie's channel.
Yeah.
It's like he posted maybe about a month ago, not even.
Yeah, we got a lot of new stuff coming up over there. Yeah, they got all those videos from back in the day. I saw one actually myself on there last night that me and Vicky filmed after I won like my second or third Olympia. I'm like, man, I never even saw. See, tell you, I would do all these news stations here.
Yes.
So there's local news stations. There's like Channel 5, Channel 4, 8, Channel 11, ABC, NBC. CBS and all those, they would all come out and do all these videos because I was still working full time in the police department. I was winning. So they thought that was remarkable. But they would come out here and film all these videos, give me a copy, and I just throw it in the box. I want to watch that. I want to see that.
Well, that's right. You know what? You just posted another one a couple weeks ago. It was your first interview ever, and you did it with a local sportscaster. And I don't know, it was between innings or before the game. It was the Houston Astros game. Not Houston. What's the Dallas team?
Rangers.
The Dallas Rangers. So it was before. Was it before one of the games or in the middle?
Rangers, yeah.
Texas Rangers. So yeah, he interviewed you there, and it was hilarious because you had just won. They called you Mr. Universe because that was your biggest title at the time. I think you had just done your first pro show, like Chicago Pro or something.
Yeah.
And you were talking about you were going to be doing the Mr. Olympia contest in a few months. Your first Mr. Olympia. So it was really cool.
Yeah. That was another one I never really saw.
And it's for the interviewer. I know I'm going all over the place. The interviewer actually asked good questions, which I would not have expected. Most of these sportscasters, they ask the dumbest questions if they ever get a bodybuilder with a microphone in front of them.
Exactly. They have no clue what they're talking about. None whatsoever. I've had 1,000 of those all around the world.
All around the world. I can imagine how some of those interviews must have gone.
Yeah.
Anyway. Cool. Ronnie, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm kind of bummed you're not going on the show, but enjoy your home, enjoy your retirement with your family. That's what it's all about. You were the greatest bodybuilder in the world for a very long time. You did you paid your dues and you did it all. So wishing you continued health. Hope the stem cell treatments work even better for you.
Yeah.
We all want Ronnie Coleman to be pain-free, around with great mobility and everything, because you're one of the most positive people in the sport, and you've always given back to the fans. You've always been there for us. So we all want the best for you. We do.
Yeah,
I do.
Sure.
Cool.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, Ronnie, thanks for your time, and everybody, thanks for watching Ronnie Line Report. That was Ronnie Coleman talking about the Olympia, which happens next weekend in Orlando. Check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.